walking in the house in my road, gotta make her put it on. She don't like man clothes, just left Concord, North Carolina. I was licking on booty and a whole lot of vagina. Eat a pizza with some ice cream, she'll remember you. Ice Cube, make it chip, shiver like the winter do.
See me with the crew, I gotta get some food. I see you looking like you do. Had to make a move, make a move.
Started. Please don't get me started. Started. Please don't get me.
What up, y'all? State Almighty, aka the global dark skin ambassador, with yet another Rikers Island story. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here. This is Nate Almighty, man, aka the global dark skin ambassador. Right? Shout out to everyone who helped me reach my 16,000 subscriber. What's the word I'm looking for? My 16,000 subscriber. It's the M word I'm looking for. I fried a lot of brain cells getting high. This is why I don't get high no more, man. My 16,000 threshold, I'm gonna say, I guess. But anyways, I've seen for quite some time, even from when I first started making these videos, different comments, right, pertaining to white boys in Rikers Island. I've addressed white boys in Rikers Island once, maybe twice, but I keep seeing the comments of people asking about, you know, like white boys, gangs. Are there any Aryan brotherhoods? Are there any, you know, of all these, are there any white boys who run in the crib? Any white boys that's putting in work? Are all the white boys just soft and signing in the PC? Where's the white boys when it comes to Rikers Island? So I'm going to speak further on that. And I want to explain why there's almost no white boys in Rikers Island, okay? Now, the biggest answer to this question is strictly geographical. Everyone who goes to Rikers Island is either from Staten Island, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan / Harlem, right? Now, these are heavily black populated places, okay? Currently now they are. However, as places like Brooklyn, Queens, you know, as all these 5 boroughs get more and more gentrified, as all these places get more gentrified, I gotta keep saying this, over the next 10 to 20 years, you're probably going to see more young white men being inside Rikers Island. I'm not going to say there's none, but I could say that there's none, to the point where the numbers that they do have, it doesn't even count, you know. There is no Aryan Brotherhood, you know, unless Aryan Brotherhood is the police. There is no like Aryan Brotherhood. There is no like gang organization, you know, out in the open like that in the streets of New York City, which is heavily populated by black and Hispanic people. Because if they did exist, the black people and the Hispanics have large enough numbers to deal with them, right? Also, I want to acknowledge the fact that the Aryan Brotherhood, they tough. Everything I hear about them in prison, like, they really, like, put it in, you know what I'm saying? However, they would be ants. Just like how they say in, you know, if anyone's seen the Avengers, the first movie, when Loki said, an ant has no quarrel with the boot. It would be like that, you know. They would be ants, black people would be the boot, you know, and they would get flushed out only because their numbers wouldn't be high enough. However, who knows what New York is going to be like in another 10, 20 years, you know. But it's strictly geographical. It's not a lot of them. It's not a lot of them. And now I'm going to speak on the fact that, and now I'm going to speak on the life of a white boy in Rikers Island for the ones that I've seen, okay? There was a white boy named Shaggy in Five Main when I first got there. He had the day room. He was subservient. You couldn't even say that there was even at least one white boy in every Rikers Island, in every crib. It wasn't even at least one. Most cribs had none, and then there's a couple who may have had one, or maybe a Spanish dude who was kind of pale, so we called him white boy, but in fact he wasn't. He might have been blood, or he was Latin King, or he was Dominican, so he was Patia/Trinitario. But I remember there was a subservient white boy named Shaggy, who was, I guess, the most respected day room dummy. He kind of put in some work, but he was soft. I also spoke about the time where another white boy came to the crib and we scared him into going in the PC by acting like we was going to take his manhood, just because it was funny. When you're black and you know about slavery and you know what used to be done to slaves, and then you're in a power position in jail, and someone who represented those bad people, or someone who's a descendant of some of those bad people comes into Rikers Island, some would either want to really repay them back physically in that way, and others, like us at the time, we had no intentions of doing that, but we would scare them into thinking that, just to see their reaction, to see if they was going to snitch or something like that. He ended up signing an NPC. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I've heard stories about white boys coming in, being tough, putting it in. My era in there, I never seen it. There was never even a white boy who was on the team when I was there. These spots were reserved for either black people or Hispanic people. You know what I'm saying? However, that's not to say that none of them was tough. I've heard about a couple white boys who came in, they end up getting jumped. Because they wasn't with the program. And by program, if you're unfamiliar with the channel, the program means when somebody tells you to give them a phone call, you give them a phone call. When somebody says, hey, I'm gonna give you this list, give me this commissary, you give them your commissary. These are the type of situations that I'm talking about. I've personally never seen or heard of in my time of any white boys rising to real prominence. There's Asians that done it. I do remember one time when I was in Marjorie Lower, maybe, though, there was these two Russian cats that came in. They was dead tough. We didn't play with them. They was tough. They came in. They pretty much looked out for whoever they was cool with, who wasn't white, didn't even matter. They was only two white boys in the house. I know they came in mad fly. They had like Armani Exchange on. And if you think Armani Exchange is nothing now, this was 2009, 2008, 2010. Like, they had like leather jackets and Armani Exchange on, and come to find out they was locked up for like attempted murder. They might have been a part of the mob at a young age. And they also had paid lawyers, and they were only locked up with us for about 2 weeks. They was cool white boys though. They was cool white boys. They probably would have ended up being somebody. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it was pretty much no white boys in Rikers Island. Pretty much no white boys in Rikers Island. And the ones that were there, they were either being subservient, they was being submissive, or they was getting extorted, or they was snitching and going to PC. That's just how it was. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.